those guys on our sales philosophies, but we didn't have like a coaching program, right? And so as we were growing notoriety, and I'm talking about what we're doing, training our sales guys, well, more people are like, well, can you train my sales guys the way you train your sales guys? Like, yeah, sure, right? And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a capitalist. Like, if you want to pay me to train your sales guys, I will train your sales guys. And so what happened fairly quickly was that we were consistently competing between which company was making more money, right? The wholesaling company and the sales training organization. And there came a point in 2023 where I just had to say, like, which company am I going to build? Which company am I going to sell? Which company has the highest upside? And so I had to make a decision. It was a tough decision in end of 23 to like, all right, we're going to go all in on sales training. And we went in that direction, and it was brutal, right? Because like, you know, selling programs and coaching and so on was great when everyone was doing really good, but it was a lot harder, right, when everyone's business kind of went down. And so we continued doing that. And AI came around end of 22, like you said earlier. And when AI came around, I thought that was just a distraction. Like, forget about it. That's just noise. Who cares? This is going to be another blockchain fiasco. And I bring that up because I lost a lot of money in the blockchain fiasco. Right? It's like, this is going to be another fiasco. This is not real. Whatever. It's distraction. But all on the way, it was kind of like I was worried that someone was going to use AI to beat me. Right. So in 2024, in 2025, we have our meetings. Like, well, I'm worried that someone's going to create an AI product that's going to actually dislodge us. And then, like, now what do we got? But even though that was the case, I was focused. I'm not changing anything. And then I had 3 different individuals who I look up to all pull me aside and say, hey, I need your help. Right. So Stephanie Butters, Left Main REI, she says, hey, I need your AI to train my sales guys. Instead of having you train my sales guys once a week, whatever, just have AI train my salespeople all the time. Like, okay, that's an interesting concept. Thank you. I'm honored. But look, AI is a distraction right now. I'm focused on sales training. Brad Chandler, Express Home Buyers, big player, operator in DMV, right? He's like, hey, I need a tool, AI. How do I know my sales guys are ready? He's like, okay, that's 2 people that I look up to. That means something, right? Third person, Casey Ryan, big operator in Las Vegas. Hey, you should make a tool. It'll make it it'll increase the value of your sales program, right? And like I said earlier, I'm a capitalist. 3 people say, I want you to make this for me, which I'm honored and flattered. I said, all right, well, then I guess I'm making this. And so this was honestly, let's see, it's March 13th. I think today is either today or tomorrow will be like the 1-year anniversary where Stephanie Butters pulled me aside. It's like, hey, like you need to make this, right? So we've only been in this journey for a year. So as we're making it, what do we get? So we got requests for automatic call scoring. So we did that. We got requests for role play bots. So we created that. Then we started getting requests for like, hey, I need you to schedule appointments for me. It's like, man, that is so different than anything that exists so far. Like, you want me to create that for you? Like, all right. And with that, I just pulled Ian aside, right? Ian Ross, if you guys don't know Ian, he is the only person I know that's more obsessed with sales than I am. And so I pulled him in, and it's like, hey, like, I need you to personally train the AI bot, right? Because like he and I are both sales trainers, but like, I need you to train the AI bot. And when you're training the AI bot, that means like he's training it, listening to it, training it, listening to it, throwing crazy objections at it, listening to it, getting all of that. And then on top of that, getting the voice right, getting the tonality right, getting the pitch right, getting the mirroring right, all these things. He was working with it nonstop, right? So he was creating the brains behind the AI. So with him working on the brains behind the AI, what I worked on was everything else around the AI. So if you guys don't know, I have a background in electrical engineering, have a master's, worked at Intel for a few years. So like I was able to take my engineering background and apply it back to the situation here. So what did we have to create? To your point, Esteban, if someone were to want to compete against us right now, here's what you would need, right? You would need to go get a phone system. It could be VAPI, it could be retail, it could be bland, it could be whatever you want. One of those major players, right? This is not a secret. That's step 1, right? You got to pick a voice, you got to pick an LLM. So for us, we decided to go with ChatGPT. right? Because that was the one that was most conversational. Again, no one has not heard of ChatGPT, right? So you can get ChatGPT, you can pick the voices. 11 Labs is the biggest one, right? There's other ones out there. Uh, PlayHT, what's the other one? Cartesia. So you can pick, there's a whole bunch of different voices out there. Like all the things that you require to create it are out there, right? So really, then the only thing left is you just need an obsessed person, and that's Ian. Like that is your sauce, right? Like he is so pivotal to what we're doing right now because he's working on a closer, right? And he's got, let's see, 18 days until the closer is done. Like that's his drop dead deadline, right? Like I need you to build a closer in AI that can sell, not book appointments, but sell. So that's what he's been working on for the last few months. But I literally pulled him off everything else. Like that's how committed we are to this. So he's no longer on coaching calls. Like I'm the main trainer. He was the other trainer. We've literally pulled him from the training program. So Esteban, you remember we used to have Advanced Sales Mastery, right? That was a program that we sold for a lot of 23 and 24, right? Because that was Ian's coaching program. So I had myself, which was, disruptor sales training, which now Objection Proof sales training, but it was disruptor sales training. That was my program. And then Ian was Advanced Sales Mastery. He was focused on individuals, independent operators. I was focused on real estate sales teams, guys. They're doing 8+ transactions a month, right? We shut down that program and stopped selling that program, right? We took revenue off the table so we could take Ian and lock him in the basement. Like you're working, not 24/7. I'm not a monster. He only has to work 18 hours a day, but he's down there in the dungeon and he is getting the work done. So if you're talking about like how we do it, like the tools are out there. Like it's not hard to find. It's how do you get the AI to operate in a way that it would sound as human as possible. And the way you do that is you teach it all the sales things that we teach in Advanced Sales Mastery, all the things we teach in Objection Proof Selling, and we put it in AI, right? So, what we've seen other people do, because it was kind of funny. This is last year. I was telling people like, hey, like here's what I'm building. I'm building a bot that can book appointments, right? And then this guy is like, well, here, look, you could just do it. You just do what I did. It's like, oh, like someone's already working on this. Let me see it. And he did a screen share and he showed me Vappy, right? I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know about Vappy. This is cool. And he showed it to me. And his prompt was like, all right, you're Jordan Belfort, book an appointment. That was the prompt, right? Like it didn't even fill the screen, right? Yeah. But with Ian's, we're at about 35 pages, right, in Word doc to get everything out of his brain, because it's the nuances. The thing about AI is that it does not, I mean, it's not a surprise, right? But it doesn't have tonality down. It doesn't know how to do the, if I were to say, Esteban, you seem kind of frustrated right now, right? Like AI can't just like deliver that tone automatically, right? So then we have to get it to say the words in such a way to minimize the risk in poor tonality. And so that's all he works on. Like we've talked about, I don't know how many sales books he's read. By now, I guess it has to be over 100. But he's locking all that stuff he's locked all that stuff into his head, and now he's outputted it into the AI. So that's how we were able to build it. We have people that say like, well, why should I use yours? There's all these other programs out there. There's, Resimply is a big one out there. There's Go High Level, there's Sales Ape, there's Simple Talk. Like there's all these other options out there. And my team used to be intimidated, right? My sales team used to be intimidated if someone said like, hey, like, like this other program is cheaper. And then my answer to them, they're like, how do I overcome this objection? It's like, don't worry about it. Like, just tell them like, hey, like you got the time to go build this out yourself. Like, go do it. And my team felt very uncomfortable saying that because they're afraid to lose the sale, right? But what did we start happening a few months later? All the people that said, oh, I'm going to go with a cheaper option eventually came back to us and used our option. It's not that different when you're wholesaling, right? Esteban, look, I could pay 100 for your house. Like, well, I got an offer 125. It's like, oh, you got 125? Go ahead and take it. And look, when you guys closing? All right, got it. End of the month. Would you be opposed to me calling you on March 30th to see how it's going? Like, no, I'm not opposed to it. Call March 30th. Hey, Esteban, I know you're closing tomorrow, so I'm excited for you. I'm glad you're able to put this behind you. How's it going? Like, well, oh, okay. Well, you still need to sell your house because you need to take care of A, B, and C. Our price is still good, right? And so it's the same philosophy, same system. But yeah, like I'm excited for competition. Like before, our guys were like intimidated, like, well, there's all these other options that are cheaper. Now, when they're hearing like I got these other options, like my team's excited. It's like, oh, great. Now we have like a real prospect that's educated and aware, and now we get to highlight how ours is better. So anyway, kind of went a bit of a rant there. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to.
Yeah, you're always gonna find a way to create an AI agent, because even 11 Labs have it, Go High Level have it,
Yeah.
like other CRMs are integrating it. But here's one of the main problems that investors usually have is now they go to a coaching program. They teach you to buy go to pay-per-lead companies, and start getting leads. Right now, these leads come at any given point during the day. You don't know when. And what happens when it really comes very late at night? What happens when it comes very early in the morning or in the weekend, and you can't turn off that ad because you can't turn off people's behavior? So what happens then? And then you do say you're going to do speed to lead, but then you take more than 5 minutes, and then you never get the lead to pick up the phone. Well, that's the first problem. You can't talk to a lead. But then when you already get a hold of the lead, then these people already have talked to 1 or 2 other people that they already have booked an appointment, or they're already being called, and they already have built some sort of trust with that individual. So now you have to be battling some sort of competition, objection handling, and so on. Really normal. But then what if you were the first person that make them commit to go into a phone call appointment or in-person appointment with you? What if someone was the first person that had like a full-on blown conversation, and that company was you, right? Where you build trust and ultimately pre-handle any objection that you would have. Now, Steve, if you don't mind, if there is a way that people can see behind the scenes, people can see what they can ultimately would potentially have to deal with whenever setting up an AI agent to book appointments, that would be great. I think that would make this masterclass great, because I haven't seen really what you got going on behind the scenes and so on. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing you have that's the issue is gonna be your context window. So we have this trade-off, right? So like AI today, it is the most knowledgeable entity in human history. There's never been anything more knowledgeable, right? Like you can ask it a question that has the answer, right? It's better than a search engine because not only has it scraped the internet, but it's also like analyzed the internet. So it knows more than anything else in human history. But it also has the memory of Dory from Nemo, right? Like in some ways, it's kind of like an Alzheimer's patient. Like it'll have a conversation with you, but then it'll forget things. Who's experienced this? Like you're chatting with ChatGPT, and like, what the hell is wrong with you, right? Remember we have like all the time, right? You have like this thing at the end of the year, they give you like your banner, right? So like, Spotify, here are the top 5 things you listen to, right? ChatGPT had a thing. And it was like, here were the 5 things you asked ChatGPT the most, okay? I shared this screenshot on social media. My number 1 question to ChatGPT in 2025 was, WTF is wrong with you, right? Because it kept forgetting what I was telling it to do. And so if you look at and like I'm legit, like I'm not kidding, like that was my number one. I screenshotted that because I couldn't believe it. So the issue you have is the context window. Okay, so what are we all doing? All of us nonstop. We're trying to balance memory and speed, right? So I'll give you another example. There was this thing that came out a couple of months ago, Personaplex from NVIDIA. Do you guys hear about that one? Right. So basically, it is the most human sounding voice, like by far the best sounding voice. It's better, maybe even than like 11 Labs, right? Like it's really good. Okay. For conversations, and they showed all these demonstrations of banks using it and this and that. I said, okay, that's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and set that up, and I did, and the voice was phenomenal. Everything they talked about in the marketing was true. Here's what they didn't disclose. It takes 10 seconds to the first token, right? And so like, if you can imagine when you type the chat GPT, right? You're like, hey, help me plan this trip to Italy. And then it does that thinking thing, right? That thinking thing today, it's not so bad, maybe a fraction of a second, right? Imagine if you typed it and then for 10 seconds, nothing happened. That's what Personaplex was. So like, it sounds great. It just takes 10 seconds before it can say the first word. Not ideal, right? For a phone system. So what do we have to balance then? We got cost, like the best, very, very best right now, AI for conversation is Claude by Anthropic, the very best, right? The speed, over a second processing every single time, and the cost will kill you. Right, but it's the best. And then we got GPT. We use GPT-4o Mini, right? It's got a really good response time, 128 kilobytes of 128,000 tokens, right? And for context, the token is 3 letters to a 3 letters is 1 token, right? So if I were to say Esteban, that's probably 3 tokens, approximately, right? And so the entire conversation has to fit the entire conversation, right? We're talking about like an hour. If it's a 15-minute conversation, hour conversation, all has to fit within 120,000 tokens. The problem is, right, our prompt is about 14,000 tokens. And then every time you're talking, you're adding to the tokens. And so, again, the problem we've had, the challenge we have is that if we want something that's fast, we can't get the token limit, right? Because I can use Gemini, I can use GPT-5, right? That has 1 million tokens. I can use a lot of different options that have 1 million tokens to resolve the memory issue. But to have better memory means I have to give up latency, which means if I say something, right, to Brian, it might take a second and a half to get back to me. That's not going to fly. And so the biggest issue that we have ran into is what is the best voice we can create with the memory for, of all intents and purposes, a floppy disk, right? Because a floppy disk, you guys remember, some of you guys are old enough. The young people here on the call, the new wholesalers that learn about wholesaling from Instagram might not know this, right? But a floppy disk is about this big, right? And it's 1.44 megabytes. That's the memory we have for AI to train it and then to store it in its memory. So that's the trade-off triangle. You know, like if you look at you're buying a home, right? You can pick the location, you could pick the amenities, and you can pick the price, but you can't pick all 3, right? Unless you're wealthy, right? If you're talk about creative financing, right? You could pick the purchase price, you could pick the date, you could pick the interest rate, but you can't pick all 3 as the homeowner. Well, for us in designing this, we have to trade off between memory, price, and latency. And so that's been the biggest bottleneck. The other thing that's a behind the scenes nightmare is just the constant testing, because you don't know how AI is going to react to this, right? We're saying like, hey, okay, AI keeps tripping on this over here. Let me go ahead and make this edit so it stops tripping on this over here, right? And then you do the test and it completely forgets this other thing, right? So let's say, for example, you decide to program it. You don't you don't want to book any appointments on weekends. You just decided this is my deal. We don't book appointments on weekends, right? And so it does a good job of not booking appointments on weekends, right? And then you decide you want to have it where you want to qualify it within a certain distance from a zip code, right? I don't want to go outside 25 minutes from A5257. That's where my office is, right? Just stay within. If the address is outside of 25 miles of A5257, I don't want to go. So you add this other parameter, right? And then you add another parameter like, well, I don't want to go if, if the homeowner says I want X price, right? I won't do anything for less than X price. And then you have an API called the Zillow to say like, all right, if they want more than Zillow, we don't go, right? So we add that in to fix that other issue, right? And then what happens? It completely forgot that we don't want to go on weekends. And so like, this is the issue is like, you can program and add more to it. But this is one of those instances of less is more. And so like, we have to deal with the memory issue and then we have to test it. We have to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So that is, I would say, the most stressful part of doing this. It's almost like training a toddler, really, right? Like it just doesn't remember things. And so like you get really, sometimes you get really violent and you want to throw things, you want to punch things. Because like, I just told you this. Again, going back to that question, right? WTF, what's wrong with you? I just trained this to you. I just taught this to you. Like, how could you have forgotten this? So I would say behind the scenes, like that is the biggest challenge is getting the AI to remember things and then the time it takes to verify it. And then listening for the tonality, listening for all that stuff to say, like, did it say that right? Right? If I pick this voice, does it say this part right on the important things? So I would say behind the scenes, that's where I gotta go back, poor Ian. He has to spend.
If someone just asks a question, so a lot of these people have full high level accounts, right? Have you been able to connect it?
We love Go High Level. I use Go High Level. We love Go High Level. Yeah.
So how does it work? And I don't know if you were to like create. So walk us through. Let's say someone comes in and has leads that are falling through a crack all the time. Mm-hmm. And they try hiring an appointment setter, a lead manager, a human from remote Latinos, let's just say, but they're not working. They're only working 8 hours a day, and they're not working on the weekend. And they are, they're also looking at talking with leads that are booking appointments and so on, but they can't get to all the leads that have not booked appointments, or they can't get to all the leads that haven't been, that are outside of working hours or normal working hours. So tell us a little bit about the process of how that normally works with an AI appointment setter. And let's say if someone has a Go High Level system, how that interconnect. If you tell us a little bit about it. Yeah.
Sure. So I'll give you the nerdy answer and I'll tell you what we do. All right. Yeah. So the nerdy answer is it all comes down to API and webhooks, right? So ultimately what it comes down to, right? So if you're getting property leads, if you're getting PPC, if you're getting just website, web form fills, right? Typically, like you got Carrot or whatever, typically what happens is that thing goes into your Go High Level, right? Like there's some sort of automation, whether it's Zapier or whatever, it goes to your Go High Level, right? So you probably have a workflow automation within Go High Level, right? Well, in that automation, you would simply add a webhook. And the webhook is a URL that feeds into our system. When you feed that into our system, now our AI system gets to work. It's calling the lead. We have our own end-to-end automation that gets to work, calls that lead, does a triple dial, right? Calls that lead, no answer, 5 seconds goes by, call it again, no answer, 5 seconds goes by, calls it a third time, right? That's our automation in calling a lead. And if someone were a client and to join ours, the thing that I figured out is no one cares about APIs and webhooks and Zapier, so they just give us their logins and we just connect it for them. That's what we do now. As a software organization, we just connect it for you because it's just too much darn work to go ahead and ask someone to go tell their VA to do it or whatever, right? So we just do that ourselves. The second part, the follow-up. Follow-up is key, obviously, right? We all know this. So what we're doing right now for our Go High Level clients that join is we have a simple automation, which is like once a lead comes in, right, we have it set up where we'll call it every 2 days. So call it every 2 days until you change the status out of the automation, right? So if the appointment or not the appointment status, if the contact status changes, once the contact status changes, once there's additional notes, we'll remove it from the automation. But until then, it'll just call it every 2 days, because that's what we would want, right? From our sales team, like we would want to have a cadence, call it. So, you know, when when I was still wholesaling, here was the expectation of my team, right? Lead comes in, call it 3 times in a row, call it 3 times in a row again later on, and call 3 times in a row before the day's over, right? So the lead came in before 12, it should have gotten 9 dials today, right? Again, same thing on day 2. So 18 dials in the first 48 hours. And then after that, just call it once a day for the next 12 days, right? And then after that, call it once a week for the next 2 months. And after that, call it once a month. Like that's what we had. That's what we could expect from our humans. Well, with our AI, we can expect a lot more. And so again, for our clients, it's just calling every 2 days until the status changes, whether it's been contacted, there was a note, whatever it is, but we're just going to keep calling them. So that's how we have it right now for our Go High Level clients.
Okay. So here's what we've been building in the backend, right? And normally in these office hours, we will present you updates on our software, right? So we're building this software called GetSellers.io, and where you'll find motivated sellers online, and every lead comes in live, fresh from different marketing channels like Google, Facebook, Instagram, right? And in the integrations tab, this is where we'll have companies like you, all right? Objection Proof AI, where they'll be able to integrate directly every lead that comes in from our pipeline, right? So whenever you're generating leads in here, if you're getting leads, for example, here we got different markets that you're generating leads on. Let's say Deborah right in here, or Shella Code. This lead that came from SXMD, you know, come in here and then would go instantly into your bot, right? So this is kind of like what we're building. And right now we're in the stage of pre-launch. So we'll be launching pretty soon in here. And we want ultimately have every lead followed up instantly from AI appointment center. And some of you guys already will have Objection Proof AI or another CRM or whatever that you want to ultimately integrate on. So that's the point. We want every lead to be touched immediately and ultimately booking an appointment in your calendar from leads that come in instantly, because you never guess it's actually when they're coming in, right? So Steve, I mean, what are your plans with integrating with, let's say, for example, if someone is running a Google Ads account or Facebook ads on themselves, how's that currently working? Like when you integrate with another system that already exists and is not necessarily Go High Level, how does that currently work?
It's the same thing. I mean, basically, part of our onboarding process is we just talk to you or whoever's on your tech team. Like just tell us how everything works right now. Even better, give us the logins and get out of the way. Because if they give us the logins and get out of the way, we can get everyone up and running in less than a week. Right? Mm-hmm. It's generally what we find is that if someone's like, well, no, I want my VA to be involved in it, or I want my technical person to be involved in it, it then takes like 15 days, 20 days. It's just the unfortunate reality is that most people's tech teams, they have their own things that they're working with, or they don't understand, or they're like, well, let me get that for you. And then like, let me get that for you is a delay, right? What we like to do in the onboarding process is like, hey, like, let's like get us the logins. Let's do the 2-factor authentication right now. And then our team can, like, generally speaking, like I say 6 days, but like very often it's 48 hours from when they sign up until like everything's connected. Because we want you to win as soon as possible. And so, but you know, if they have like their other people involved, then it takes longer. But yeah, wherever the source is coming in, literally, there's nothing keeping us out now, right? And when I say that, here's what I mean. So the biggest challenge we've had for the longest time is like Resimpli, right? Resimpli is a closed ecosystem. They don't want anyone going in, right? So like, for example, if GetSellers, a lead comes in, right? You're using Esteban, you're getting a bunch of leads, right? And that lead comes in on Monday. And then they register again on Friday. Well, the way it works right now with Resimpli is that second lead doesn't come into your system because it's a closed ecosystem, right? So there's no updates as this person registered a second time. So what did we have to do? We had to create OpenClaw so that we actually can log into here simply as a second administrator. And now we are automating the updating the notes. So when something's happening on our end where like a lead comes in and our AI calls them, after AI calls them, our AI will use a different AI bot to log in to your CRM and update the notes. Like something that's crazy that's happened, you know, I want to say maybe in the last week, maybe in the last month, which is like every website is now an API, right? So before you need API access and this and that, every website now is an API. It's just, if they don't give us API access, it's just a slow API is all it comes down to. So long answer to your question, Esteban, no matter what system they have, my team can connect it because there's really nothing now keeping AI out of any ecosystem.
And there's a few questions in here, and I think the moment of truth could come. Would it be possible for you to show us a live demonstration of how would it sound when when an appointment setter, AI appointment setter, calls a lead that just recently filled out a form, and a few people want to hear how that sounds and how that looks like. So let's say someone comes in from GetSellers.io from a PPC campaign that they just paid, right? And I'm assuming it's going to be calling what within 30 seconds or 1 second as soon as the lead comes in.
Yeah, let's see how fast it goes, right? So I'm going to put this in right now. So this is my CTA, so AI caller, right? So you text AI caller to 33777. Right, so from here, it's asking for my name, Steve, right? Not doing anything tricky here, right? Okay, what email should we email? All right, so Steve at, so see here. I always like to put weird numbers in here so that I make sure I don't make any duplicate contacts. So right now I just put Steve plus 837 at closemoresales.com. So I know like this was a lead that came in at 837. All right. So here, I just put my email address in, right? So let's see from how long until I hit send. So I hit send until it calls.
So this is the lead that came in, all right?
Yeah, it just came in right now. There you go. Hello?
Yeah, this is Sarah. I'm calling from Objection Proof Selling. You expressed interest in selling a property some time ago. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. I appreciate you taking the time to chat. Just to get a better understanding, can you remind me which property you were considering selling?
Yeah, it's just the house over at 123 Main Street.
Thanks for that. Is that property something you're currently living in, or is it vacant or rented?
I'm living in it.
Got it. And do you have any specific timeline in mind for when you might want to sell?
Yeah, I need to be out of this house by the end of the month.
That's coming up quickly. I can imagine that might feel a bit stressful. How would you describe the overall condition of the house right now?
Listen, I just need an offer. Like, just make me an offer.
I get it. That's what everyone wants to know. We found we can't be accurate without understanding this full picture first. A quick chat with our specialist would get you a real number based on your specific situation. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
I mean, your website said that you'll make me an offer fast.
That's fair. And it sounds frustrating. I'm just here to see if this is even worth exploring. Just out of curiosity, what's been the biggest challenge with the property lately?
You know, my wife and I are going through things, and so like this is just one last thing. We could just put this behind us. That's what I need.
That sounds really challenging, and I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It makes sense that you'd want to move on. Just to understand a bit better, what would need to happen for you to feel like selling is the right next step?
I guess if I could just get this sold and I can just get on with my life.
I completely understand. It sounds like selling this property would provide some relief and help you move forward. Just out of curiosity, is there a ballpark number you were hoping to walk away with after the sale?
If I could get 50,000, that'll be enough for me to just pay off some cards and just move out of here.
Got it. I'll note that down. It sounds like getting that amount would really help you in starting fresh. Now, if we ended up being a fit and made something work, who else would want to be involved in that kind of conversation?
I mean, my wife probably.
That makes sense. Would it be beneficial to have her involved in our next call? That way, everyone hears the same information together.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. Would you like me to connect you with our best team member right now to talk through next steps?
Yeah. And then that just does a live transfer to me. So.
Oh, since when did you add a live transfer? That's great news.
I don't know, 3 months ago.
Okay. Wow. All right. So that means that if someone is available, will it just ring a some sort of round
So we
robin?
have no, not round robin. So we have a free for all, right? I mean, just like our wholesale team, right? Like I still remember, with our wholesale team, like there were a couple of guys making coffee in the kitchen, and like the main line rang, and they all sprinted out of the kitchen, right, to grab the phone because it's a free for all. And so like, yeah, whoever wants it the most gets to talk to the seller.
Okay. What if it's not during working hours? Like how?
Yeah, books an appointment.
So the AI appointment setter would know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we have a setting, right? Like we got pretty advanced with this. So basically, like every single client gets to put in there, like, here are the times I want a live transfer. Here are the times I want an appointment set. And so if it's within those hours, we'll do a live transfer. If it's outside those hours, then I'll do an appointment set. And the appointment set right now is set to everyone's Google Calendars. I feel bad for the people that don't have Google Calendar in our program, but 90% of users, 90% of small business owners use Google, right? And so it reads the Google Calendar, it finds times available, right? And then it'll go negotiate back and forth with the homeowner. Like, here's the time we can do, right? And so on. So yeah, we just book it on Google Calendar.
Great. So Abraham, he's asking, what happens if you're a single guy who grabs the call and can you ask a question, sir? And maybe you can unmute yourself. I didn't really understand. What happens if you're single?
Oh, he just answered it. That if you're a guy by yourself and they'll make an appointment.
Okay, got it. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
No problem. All right. And overall, quickly, if you can walk us through, what's the current framework that this appointment setter actually uses? Because I noticed that this setter automatically went into wanting to gather some facts and details about and I know how important it is to dive into the problem of the person and so on, but overall, what's the framework that you guys follow?
We just need to find a little bit of motivation, right? It's the same exact thing we train other people's lead managers, right? So like, I still train, hundreds of top business owners across the country still, right? And so like their lead managers, the way we train it is get some motivation. Don't dive deep. We don't need them crying over the phone, but it's also not like an order taker. Hey, Esteban, when you want to meet? Like, hey, what's got you going? What's got you interested in selling property? I need to hear something. And if I don't hear anything, I'm not booking the appointment, right? And so the thing that they ask is just like, what's got you interested? And if the seller refuses to answer that question, we actually don't book the appointment. Right. So that's the framework, like what's going on. And then we ask how much you need, but that's not a gate. Like if you refuse to answer that question, we'll still book the appointment. But we do ask how much you want to walk away with. Another thing you notice the question is how much are we hoping to walk away with, not how much you want to sell the house for, which is, I think a nuance that we really focus on in our sales training that not everyone else does. We focus on the net that you want on to sell the property, not the purchase price, because it's purchase price, you're anchored against Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, blah, blah, blah. How much you want to walk away with, there's no anchor, right? There's no rule like if you live in the house for 10 years, you got to walk away with $100,000, right? So the question is very carefully crafted. How much are we hoping to walk away with? Because that's consistent with our sales process where we get in the end, well, Esteban, how much do you need to be able to take care of A, B, and C? Right? You've been there. You've been to our live in-person sales training. So like it's all about how much you need, not how much you want to sell your house for. And so we follow that same framework. It's the same framework that we've been teaching for a while, 8 years now.
Okay.
7 years.
Yeah. So I know you're against at least Ian, the two-step call process.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because it adds a little bit more friction and removes it removes or maybe stops the other person to not show up, to show up, and show up rates just go down significantly. So you're expecting that every single person that goes to this appointment does a one call close within that call. Is that what you're expecting?
That is the intention. The intention is to do a one call close. We recognize that sometimes you have an appointment, you have a situation where like the spouse isn't there, right? In which case we don't make a formal offer, right? We don't do a formal written offer. But our intention, best practice, is to go from this person start a conversation with a willingness to sell the property and then end the conversation with a signed contract, right? And the reason why I hate the 2-call close, personally, myself and Ian, the reason why we hate it is that there's two things that happen. One is, and they're both science, right? One's math, one's science. So the first thing is, we know that when the phone call ends, you hit the end button or you hang it up, we know that is not 100% you'll get them back on the phone, right? It might be 90, it might be 80, but everyone that does not get back on the phone is a lost sale forever, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Doesn't matter how motivated they were. That's the first thing. Second thing, this call is going to end in about 15 minutes, right? Once the office hours ends, what do? We pull out our phones. We check our notifications, right? What's happening on Instagram? What's happening on Facebook? What's happening in the news? Text message from someone that's pissed off about something, right? Missed calls from someone back in the office. There's all these things that happen. The moment you respond to one of these, your chemistry in your body changes. So in our conversation, I talk about estimate, how long it's been going on. Man, that's rough. Who else knows about this? What happens if we can't fix it? I am pumping you full of stress hormones, right? You're getting pumped full of cortisol. And I was like, hey, Esteban, let's just pretend we're able to get this taken care of, right? I was able to just hand you right now $100,000 cash. I just put it on the kitchen table. Like, what are you going to do with that? Wow. How long have you been thinking about that? How's that going to feel? Right. And now you're in this like pretend land, but you're full of dopamine. You're feeling good about this, right? So I just pumped you full of stress. I pumped you full of dopamine, right? I've got your emotional makeup, your chemistry has changed through our sales conversation, right? And the moment you end the call and then you deal with a fire from this other angry person, right? Whatever it is, your chemistry changes. And so let's say I call you back in 5 minutes. Well, you were emotional. You were ready to do business. 5 minutes later, well, your logic has come back. Your reason has come back. You were a different person, right, than you were when you ended the call. I mean, how many of us have had a follow-up conversation like, yeah, hey, give me a call Monday. Like, I feel really good about this, but I just like to sleep on things. I'm not the kind of person that makes decisions quickly. Call me Monday, right? And you call on Monday, and it's a completely different human being, right? Well, what happened? Their chemistry changed. And so for me, I want to, I was a poker player. I didn't make it pro, right? Lost money, but I was a poker player, right? I want to play the odds. I want to do everything that is in my favor, right? Game theory. I don't want to do anything that harms my odds. I want to do everything that helps my odds. And ending the call for two reasons, chemistry and then math, it's a dangerous game to play and end the call.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so we have a few questions in here. Sounds like, can you share some of the result? No, first question actually, Gene. Does it call through our numbers? And can it call from different caller IDs?
No, it doesn't call from other caller IDs. It calls from our caller ID. So basically, we're at a point now where we're providing the phone system, right? So we're not taking other people's phone numbers. We are providing the phone system because we're calling from our numbers.
Okay, that's good. So I'm assuming it's going to be a Twilio number that you buy for them.
Correct.
Okay, cool. And Abram, I'm sorry for butchering your name, man. But so it sounds like you can share great results from your clients. What are other KPIs with using AI out of, let's say, 10 answers? How many appointments? I think you shared something about this on Facebook. Out of the lead to appointment ratio and so on, or even a show up ratio, like what are you seeing right now?
So the one we just started tracking is appointments per new leads, right? So we're finding consistently 30 appointments scheduled per 100 new leads. That doesn't include live transfers. That's just appointments. So 30 appointments per 100 new leads. And then as far as results, like we just started getting permission from our clients to just like audit their CRM. One client we saw, it was 228,000 from appointments booked from AI. Another client, we're waiting to sit down and verify. I talked to him. I was just at Collective Genius this week. I saw him there. But from what we saw, it was 1.2 million in revenue collected, not like potential, right? Not hypothetical revenue, right? Closed revenue from our AI scheduling the appointments. So I want to verify it with him before like I announce it everywhere. I guess I kind of already announced it here, but I still want to verify the data, make sure it's accurate. And then we have another client. Like we've seen multiple 30K closings, and they've only been with us, I want to say like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. They had multiple 30K closings. So I'd say like those for the results that probably matter the most.
There were not, did they have appointment setters before you, or they had something else?
They had appointment setters. So this individual has an interesting business model. So he's got a really healthy marketing budget. And so what he has is he has TV, radio, PPC, right? For those, it's the humans first, and then AI. And then he's got PPL and cold call. For PPL and cold call, it's AI first, and then humans, right? So that's his model, right? And it works. It works. So, and then we still haven't even gone through to explore all his older leads. He's got 60,000 leads in the CRM. So we still haven't even unleashed the follow-up.
Let's dive into that real quick, because with an AI appointment setter, you can do multiple tasks. Like you can do the first appointment from lead scheduled, right? And you can do the triage if they already have booked an appointment with another system. I don't know if you have that built out, but you can also do reactivations, right? Which ones are you currently doing right now?
We're doing reactivation, and we're doing new leads.
New leads, okay. New leads and reactivations. Okay.
Yeah.
And from the new leads that you have, that you're currently doing, what's the percentage that you've seen overall in a good market with a good channel, with a good lead system of lead to appointments?
It's 30 leads for every 100 appointments. And again, I need to start tracking live transfers, because like since we've started tracking live transfers, appointments have gone down, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I need to start tracking live transfers. But before live transfers, before we were doing live transfers, we were at about 40. Now we're at 30. So I got to see how much of that is because of live transfers.
Are you tracking where the lead came from? Whether it was like a Google PPC lead or Facebook lead, or no?
No.
Different channels, they have different appointment,
Yeah, we don't have that granularity, and the only reason why is because we don't have that data. Right? Like if we had that data, right, then we would. Here's what I do know, right? Like the purest data we have is Nick Perry.
Yeah.
Right. Because that guy is spending every week a lot of money. So like it is the purest data, because we have other clients that kind of do this, right? But I know week in, week out, Nick Perry is going to be driving a couple hundred leads between PPC and PPL.
Yeah.
Right. So that is like the baseline data, and everyone else is like, we'll see. But there's no one driving more fresh leads than Nick, and then there's no one driving more leads than Stratton. I don't know what he's doing, but that guy is just an absolute lead magnet. He's pumping through so many leads through our system.
That's amazing. I know a few people that have a similar or even more lead flow than Nick, so I'll send them your way, see if you can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I would love to help them. And obviously that's good for business, but B, also like, let's make everyone more money. You know, the thing that I started Real Estate Disruptors with from the very beginning was I want to create 100 millionaires. Like, the more success everyone has, the better off society is. So, absolutely.
All right. So, in terms of, are you tracking show up ratio right now? Do you know what's show up?
I don't know show up ratio. I don't know that. But what I do know is we were able to now, because we've tracked, the call scoring side. We've had over 1 million calls logged through our system, right? So, and then we have in our scoring system, like, here are the things that we care about. Here are the two things now, right, after doing this for almost a year, the two things that matter more than anything else, right, for success. Number one closing with empathy, right? It's not just, hey, you're ready to go. It's like, hey, as I understand, you're dealing with this, this, and this, and you're trying to put this behind you, right? Like just making sure we're leading with empathy and going for the close. So you can, when you're going through closing, if you're closing with empathy, that is the number one factor. The number one factor. Number two, preventing remorse. People that are good at preventing remorse just have more success. Does it mean that preventing remorse is the reason why you have more closings? Maybe it's also the people that will prevent remorse are also just better closers. Right? There could be a correlation that those that consistently prevent remorse are better closers because they feel comfortable doing that. But we do see like a parallel between people that prevent remorse and have a higher closing rate.
All right, I love that. So before we finish the office hours here, I do have a link for you guys if you guys are interested in in Objection Proof AI. I was gonna say GetSellers.io. So tired of promoting my own company. But anyways, I have a link here that I'm posting. If they book with you or anybody in your team come from us at GetSellers, Hustle Media, Remote Latinos, you name it, what else can they get?
Well, I'm trying to think of what I can get. What I can promise absolutely is that we will know for sure that we will get all the leads set up instantly with GetSeller, and then we will work with your team to make sure that all their leads are properly transferred over. It might be in the CRM, it might not be, but you already have the data. So I would ensure everything gets followed up with, because there's nothing better than appointments and contracts from old leads.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's found money. That's like waking up. That's not like waking up. That's like when you go to the Salvation Army and you reach in your jacket before you donate the jacket. It's like, oh, there's a couple $100 in here.
Yeah.
Right. Like found money is the best. Yeah. So,
and,
you know,
a lot of people sleep on this. I did a mini masterclass on reactivation campaigns, and just very few people do it. We do it every month on text message. We do it every month on email. We do it every month on calls that we do. But here is what if anybody can get something today and start doing it right now, where okay, you don't have a lot of lead flow right now, but you do have a lot of leads from the past. That is like the fastest win, right?
Absolutely.
And you could include a reactivation campaign for that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes
absolutely.
GetSellers.io or get Hustle Media or Remote Latinos, and they start using Objection Proof AI, a reactivation campaign could start, could happen. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So Abram has been asking really good questions here. He said, Steve, you're a really great salesman, but do you feel like AI is better than a human, for example, like, or even an AI, a VA that does really good at sales?
I'll put my AI against any VA. But as far as like a good salesperson, right, against Esteban, against Taylor, I saw Brian earlier, you know, like against a good closer, no, AI will lose to a good closer one-on-one, right? Like if this is a cage match, right? Even RJ Bates, who I give a lot of crap to, like he'll beat my AI, right? But AI will fight 24/7, right? AI doesn't get sick. AI doesn't go on vacation. AI doesn't have too much Taco Bell, right? And their stomach's not working well. AI doesn't fight with their spouse, right? Like AI doesn't have all these personal issues. It is ready 24/7, right? On top of that, let's say, right, you got a killer campaign and I don't know, when is peak? Peak, like when do you get the most leads? What time? Like Friday? Yeah.
Fridays get a lot of leads for sure.
So let's say Friday, 12 p.m., right? You get 4 leads that just came in because like this is just peak time. Our AI will call all 4 leads and have 4 different conversations in parallel at the same time, right? You have a great lead manager. Great. They're doing a killer job on one, and the other 3 are talking to your competition.
Yeah. You can't have that, guys. Come on. You also don't want to hire too many. I mean, for me, there's no problem. Go to remotelatino.com and hire as many lead managers if you want to. But make humans work with AI, and your business will be a lot more efficient, right? And now that Steve and Ian are such an obsessed individuals about this, you're only gonna get the best thing. Now, Abram asked, what does it mean? Can you explain real quick to him preventing remorse?
Oh yeah. So preventing remorse. Here, I'll just do it real quick. Hey Esteban. So now that we've put this all in writing, what does this contract mean to you?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a step to being more committed about moving forward with selling the house, you know?
And here's what it means to me. It means that you're finally able to put this all behind you and you're able to restart the next chapter in your journey. If you have any doubts, questions, reservations about this, just do me a favor. Just go ahead and just tear this up right now. And you're like, no, I don't want to tear this up. It's going to solve my problems, right? Somewhere along the way, you're going to tell someone that, hey, you just sold your property, and they're going to be upset. They're going to be upset you didn't talk to them first. What are you going to tell them? Right? And go through the Zola deal. And and on top of this, you submitted your information to my website. You're probably going to get some other people calling. You're getting people calling you, door knocking, texting you. They're going to say, hey, they can pay more than me. Like, what are you going to tell them? And he's going to say, well, I have to consider it. Well, here's the thing, Esteban. I can't go back to my office and tell them, hey, we need to set aside this $100,000 for Esteban and make sure it's available on March 31st. If you're telling me you're not fully committed to working with us. And then you'll say, oh my God, I didn't know. It's like, no, I'm committed to you. And look, by the way, it could be tonight. It could be tomorrow night. It could be next week. You're going to wake up and you're going to think, what the heck did I just do? What did I just do? And I just want you to know that feeling is totally normal. People go through all the time. This is a significant step in your life. So that's just a totally normal feeling. And what happens? Next week, when you start panicking, it's like, oh yeah, Steve said this is going to happen. It's okay. I don't prevent remorse. He's going to start freaking out. And it's like, did I leave money on the table? Let me call my realtor friend. So these are all the things we do to prevent remorse to ensure the contract closes, because it's not enough to get signed contracts. We get paid when contracts actually close.
I love that. Guys, you cannot get a better service from sales and marketing obsessed people that have a sales marketing product. Okay. So if you guys are interested, go to Objection Proof AI with the link that I put in the description below. And if you watch this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have a question, a follow-up question, put it in the comments. So we're going to be distributing this to the entire Ariapreneurs community. But if you watch it on YouTube, you know that what is this version of Objection Proof AI right now?
What do you mean, what version?
Is it like OPOS? What?
No, it's just Objection Proof AI. There's no versions yet. It's just Objection Proof AI. It's gonna keep getting better. Like I said, we're gonna have our closer done in the next 18 days.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Closer AI. That is insane. We're gonna have another masterclass about that. And I like to do role play sessions in my lives with that thing. That will be amazing.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah. All right. Yes, sir. Abraham, best leads are the ones you already have. So reactivate them, close them with the best sales skills and empathy, like that Steve has been talking about. If you want to get more leads from PPC, Facebook, Instagram at a package level, go to getsellers.io. And if you want them to be followed up instantly, go to objectionproof.ai. All right. So if you guys are here, thank you for coming through the office hours, guys. This was great. Steve, thanks, man. Love you, man. Love Ian. And I hope you guys are having a great rest of your Friday. And let's do more contracts this Friday. All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good one. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. Bye.